How can sexual abuse psychologically affect a person?
Sexual abuse can affect a person by messing up, well, there's lots of different things. It could mess up their brain chemistry. They could have levels of depression. They might be hypomanic. Maybe it'll turn into a personality disorder. They could be borderline personality. I mean, it really does affect each individual person differently. So depending on what the abuse was, how extensive the abuse was, when did it happen? Did it happen when they were a kid? Were they a teenager? Were they an adult? Was it incredibly violent, or was it verbal? So it really does depend on each individual case.
Hi, what's your name and what do you do?
I'm Valentina Sanabria, and I'm a college student.
Okay, what effects does sexual violence have on society, in your opinion?
I think, in my opinion, sexual harassment has both positive and negative effects on society. One of them being a positive effect would be that sexual harassment shows people that it's something bad, that it's something disgusting, and that it's real, that it's really happening, so society can benefit from that by doing something to try to change it or stop it. But I mean, it is no joke to anyone that sexual harassment is also a very bad effect on people, on society especially, because it's just horrible to know that someone can ever think of doing something like that, that someone can have that image in their head that it's okay to do that, and society can benefit from that by trying to stop these people from doing that stuff. So I think that's the effect that it has on society.
I was at a really good friend's house. I knew everybody that was at the house. I was over the age of 21. We were drinking. And this guy that I had known, like I said, for quite a while, I went to high school with him, and we stayed in touch through college. I had invited him, and he brought one of his friends who I'd met before. And, several of us ended up getting pretty drunk. And my friends put me to bed. I was being put to bed, and sometimes I have no way of justifying what he did or anything like that. But essentially, he came into the room, and he raped me, and I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't aware of what was happening. I wanted so desperately to be wanted after that had happened, because I felt so violated and felt so belittled, that I was desperate to have that connection and have that validity from somebody. I didn't think I was worth much at the time.
Okay, and what do you think we can do to stop sexual violence?
That's a tough one, because it's no joke that no matter what you do to try to help a problem like this, it all depends on the individual, because it's not something that as a group people think it's... I mean, most of sexual harassments are just a single person committing the crime or assaulting someone, and it's pretty hard to... You can always educate a couple of people and educate young people to tell them what's good from bad and stuff like that. But it depends on the individual, because you can educate a bunch of people, and that would be a really good way to do it. Just educate them on what things are good and what things are bad, like I said. But if the individual doesn't want to listen or doesn't want to pay attention to that, then that's on him or her. So it's a really tough problem to try to solve. However, you can always educate, which I think would be the best way to go with that.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, no problem.
Hi, what's your name and where do you work?
My name is Fernando Fernandez, and I work at Martin Luther King High School.
Okay, so we have a few questions about sexual harassment. The first one is, how does a boy wearing a naked girl on their shirt affect the school community?
It affects it immensely, because, for one thing, that's not the proper placement for that type of shirt. I don't think that type of shirt is a proper placement anywhere, but especially on a school campus.
So the cops were called the next morning, and they interviewed me and one of my really good friends. I was scared, so we didn't have them come to the house at first, just because we didn't really know what we should be doing or how we should handle it. we ended up having them come to the house after about a half an hour of them just talking to us.
How do you feel about sexual harassment as a whole?
Well, sexual harassment is a very, very strong issue in society, and it's unfortunate that it happens. I'm very strongly against it and always have been, and I feel that in society everybody needs to keep to their own and obviously just, focus on loving each other and loving one another and not others that they don't really care about.
Okay, thank you.
They had to take pictures of the house, of where it happened, of me. It was awful. I had to go in the back seat of the cop car, and they had to take me to the hospital where I had to go through like a really uncomfortable and invasive exam.
How do you think we could stop sexual violence?
We can empower people through teaching, through education, through community outreach programs, not making it so taboo, making the environment more friendly and accepting, and not making people feel so much shame if they've been a victim to it, offering them alternatives to seek help, counseling services, things like that.
Thank you.
Kind of a whole worldview. It's a constant in my life. There's not a day that goes by where I'm not doing something because of what happened. And it could be something as small as I don't check into Facebook until after I've left a concert or left someplace because I don't want people to know where I am. I don't want them to come find me. I think that it's a bunch of BS, that it's always, well, women shouldn't dress this way, or maybe they shouldn't drink too much. I think that's a load of crap.
How do you feel about sexual violence?
In my opinion, I feel disgusted, and I feel like it's something really terrible it's something just disgusting, because for a human being to think that it's okay to sexually abuse someone or sexually harass someone is just something sickening, like people that have that mental health are sick people. They don't understand what's good from bad, and they're just disgusting people. And I think it's something very gross and very sad to think about and to know that it exists in our society.
First question is, how do you feel about sexual violence?
It disgusts me, to be honest with you. I feel that there's no reason for it, and it's just so humiliating and violating on so many different levels.